Hello, everyone. This is Al Gilbert, Chief Listing Officer for AdvisoryOptions.net. We provide second opinions and new ideas to help people find new jobs, businesses attract new customers, and sales professionals to create presentations that an audience will actually listen to. So I love listening to people I find interesting, and for the next 15 minutes or so, my guest today is Ms. Kari Bigot, Vice President, Head of North American Sales for Altour International, a travel company well known for its expertise in leisure, corporate, and entertainment travel. Welcome, Kari.
Thank you, Al.
How are you? Okay. So I always like to start at the beginning. Where did you grow up, and what did your parents do as professionals?
Oh, I grew up in a small city called St. Paul Park, little suburb of St. Paul, Minnesota.
Right.
And believe it or not, since I'm in sales, go figure, my father was a salesperson.
Okay.
Right. And my mom she did a lot of things from being a nurse to, miscellaneous jobs as 5 kids as we grew up.
Okay. And you went to Sanford Brown University?
No,
No?
a small college here in Minnesota called Brown College.
Oh, Brown College. Okay. And what was your major?
Believe it or not, I was in legal.
Legal. All right. That's
legal,
okay.
Travel.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. Now, looking at your LinkedIn profile, it looks like you've spent pretty much your whole career in travel, car rentals, ground transportation, and almost 10 years at Altours.
Correct.
I was looking at the Altour page, the web page, and I want to compliment the company on that, particularly the the little button you have for COVID-19 travel. I think it's actually better than some of the other TMCs I've looked at. The one recommendation I would make that I really like is that the IATA Travel Center thematic source is really good for travel, because what most people are not sure about is, okay, the planes are safe, the hotels are safe, but what destinations are safe? And that's hard to figure out. I want you to talk a little bit about Altours, and I would like you to describe what makes Altour different from the competition. But here's the challenge: not by quoting a brochure or a presentation, but tell us a short story either about an employee or a customer or a strategic direction or an event that distinguishes Altour.
Okay, I will say the number one word that comes to my mind is our clients are not one of many. I mean, they're custom. We always say that, you're unique. You have your own unique set of challenges, gaps, objectives, goals, and we treat each client like that. And with that, our personalized service, they're just not a number to us, and we truly believe that. Good story to that is this was just pre-COVID, obviously 2019. I had a customer reach out to me that I sold the account 5-6 years ago, and she called and she said, "You need to know this happened." I went, "Okay, this is gonna be fun."
I love those calls.
Right? And it was actually just the opposite. She was being pushed by her executive team to get some numbers together, and live numbers, not last month's, these numbers now. And she just didn't have access to that kind of data. She didn't want dashboards. Her account manager pushed everything out to her as needed. She was reaching out to her account manager, not in the office, reaches out to him on his cell phone. He's not able to answer, sends him a text. He's in the back of a taxi on a vacation in New York City. She's crunched for time, and he pulls out his computer and runs the numbers, gets the reports that she needs, gets it to her within 10-15 minutes, and she's able to take that, action it, get it to her executive team, look like a hero. And again, that account manager was on his personal PTO time. And so that's when she came to me and she said, "You need to know this." And that's one of many examples, and the reason why I've been here for over 10, close to 10 years.
That's a perfect example. Thanks for that. I was looking at on LinkedIn every day, and every day there seems to be another farewell message from one of my colleagues in the industry saying, this is my last day after 20 years at Delta or 20 years at TMC this or TMC that. When travel does come back, and I think first leisure and then business, will there be anyone at the travel agency to answer the phone?
Another good question. I will say yes. And here's how we're tackling it is all of our furloughed employees, we are staying in contact with. And it's a little dicey because technically they are furloughed. They're not, current employees. But we're staying, we have different initiatives that we have on a more personal level from a management team to make sure that we're in constant communication with them. So we know at a pulse of, at any pulse, which employees are at any given second ready to come back,
Mm-hmm.
and which have already some objectives in their own life they're starting to pivot towards.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also know very well that there's a pool of others out there from other suppliers that we can have access to. Unfortunately, given that there are some TMCs that are folding.
Mm-hmm.
That said, we're working in an environment to be very collaborative. So we have, we're talking to other TMC partners,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not partners per se, but partners in travel. And so, this isn't a siloed business. It never has been a siloed business. It's always been about relationships. And that's, how we're going to guarantee we will have the teams when the travel comes back.
Good to hear. So as a sales director, you obviously have seen a lot of resumes over the years as you hire people. And what type of resumes impress you?
I like those that tell a story. And not just, again, it's in sales, we can be very creative and we can be very flashy. And so some might look really well. But if I can look at a resume and get a gist of a story this person's had throughout their career and a gist of their passions and a little bit about their character, I'm going to probably want to talk to that person.
Can you think of one that comes to mind? Now, you don't have to name the person, of course, but
that's going to be a challenging one for me to come to mind because, actually I do have one. It was 2 years ago, the gal out in the East Coast, and it was the way she described each of her steps, because she had quite a few steps. She was, back in my day, you were supposed to keep a job for a pretty long time. And when you didn't, and you jumped from, role to role, it didn't always look good. Well, then things changed. And this particular person did have that kind of little bit of a jumping going on. But in her resume, the way it read, you could understand why. And so when she would kind of describe her every step, it gave me a kind of like a compelling, I want to talk to this person. I want to see what this person is about. She's obviously got a lot of attributes that people like, the way she wouldn't be going from place to place. And they all led to, when I did have a conversation with her, they all did lead to where she does want to go.
So the resume sounded like it told a story of more of a human being than just a potential employee.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yes, yeah.
Okay, good. Thanks for that. If you have more time, I might come back to the resume question. So there's been a lot of chatter in the industry about compensation for TMCs. Transaction fees have always been very historical. And I've always been of the opinion, being in sales myself, I've sold for virtually all three big TMCs. I would tell management, I said, look, don't complain that you're being treated like a commodity through the RFP when you price yourself like a commodity, which is a transaction. So there are 4 business models I'm going to suggest to you, and you tell me if any of them sort of speak to you or resonate. The first one is called the Netflix model, where in place of DVDs, the customer gets a certain number of profiles. So you might manage 50 profiles, 100 profiles, but each of those profiles get unlimited travel. The next one is what I call the law firm model, We pay a set retainer per month for all the services, with the exception of maybe events and special things like that, the retainer. The third one is what I call the concur model, where for a monthly fee, you get a maximum number of transactions, like expense reports. And then the last one is the SaaS model, where you start with a freemium product and then you offer a premium product. So the freemium product might be just basic, reservations, and then the premium product might be something else. Do you think any of those models might, come into the marketplace?
So there's been internally and externally a lot of talk around, I guess, all of those four models and the pros and cons to each of them. Mm-hmm. And I started our conversation with that we treat each customer as a unique customer. And so we're having those conversations with each customer. And we are very open to creating a model that is a win-win for both of us. And, whether that's a kind of a hybrid, maybe combining like your concur model with the law firm model and figuring out what does that look like for that particular customer. And this is in sincerity. I know that in other organizations I've worked with, you pretty much have a standard template for your pricing. And mm-hmm. if your customer doesn't like it, so be it. That's not our approach. And, mm-hmm. and it's been difficult at sometimes because clients think that that's the way it should be. Mm-hmm. Yet other clients appreciate that we're open-minded, that we're even an open book. We'll say, mm-hmm. okay, we need to have, this is your financial model with your data. We need this much for a percent margin profit because we have to stay in business. Let us work together. And how do we get to that spot where we both feel it's fair partnership?
Yeah,
now,
that makes sense.
That was in the transaction fee, era. Now as we're in this era, clients are actually opening, their minds to that because they understand that at this point, we're keeping our business open with a fraction of business coming in the door. When my client wants to come back to traveling with me, we still have to have our business open. So they understand it's a give and take right now. So to answer your question, I don't know for sure, but I know it will work its way out and our clients will eventually come to a fair pricing model that we all can agree upon.
Yeah, that makes sense. During this pandemic period, there have been a number of support groups which have been formed. You created Int'l, right?
Yep.
There's also the TAMS Travel that Susan Lichtenstein started. There's Travel Again that Mike McCormick and Ed Silver started. Are these, I'll call them support groups, once the pandemic is over, are these support groups sustainable or will they just sort of dissolve?
Yeah, I asked myself that too. Ours is truly, I would say, leans more towards your support group. It was in the true intention to keep together, to keep in touch, to keep us motivated, to keep the collaboration going within our industry. So when one hears of an opportunity, we share it. If we need to get an uplifted message, we share it. So ours is more kind of that grassroots area. I know TAMS is a little bit more structured and they're trying to get off. Same with Mike McCormick. Obviously, time is going to be the telling point there.
Yeah.
I think the story, what the story is around those support groups is just that our industry has been about that, supporting each other. And look at, pandemic, we start creating groups to, hey, come on, let's get together. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it could still be sustainable in a competitive market because we never know if something like this could ever happen again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so right. It's good to keep that structure in place. We have about a minute and a half left. I want to go back to the resume. So what's the worst kind of resume you've seen?
Oh, spelling errors, bullet points that really don't tell anything. It's interesting. I've seen them and I just know what I don't like and I put it over there. Isn't that bad?
No, I'm doing a seminar for Silicon Valley Business Travel Association on November 16th. I'll be talking about resumes and job hunting. And, the tough love reality is that hiring managers don't want to hire. They want to fall in love.
You're right.
and the first thing they look at is the resume, and the resume is like a Tinder photo. Swipe left, swipe right, swipe left. Oh, that one I like.
Yeah.
So the resume, has to look good in so many ways. So I appreciate
Well,
your
it's
input.
interesting you say that, swipe left, swipe right. That's kind of what I just said. I literally swipe, which way is negative?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I'm married.
Me too.
Just to close out the time, you've been in the travel industry, your career. If not the travel industry, what other industry would you work in?
Wow, that's a good one.
People
Okay,
usually.
I'm gonna go for it because everybody says you're natural at doing it and doing these a minute with Altour. I don't know, entertainment. Maybe I need to spread my wings and see if. Otherwise, I've been in travel too long. I don't know what's out there.
No, I think that's a great idea. I mean, what we're doing right now is what I really enjoy, in addition to writing. So this has been great. So our 15 minutes has just been up. I really
Wow.
appreciate your time. And I've been spending 15 minutes with Kari Bigot, the Vice President for North American Sales at Altour. And I recommend everyone go to altour.com, correct?
Correct.
And look it up. It's a great company.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Al.
Kari.
Thank you. Bye.